Spice and Wolf, episode 20. We are nearing the end, as indicated, I guess, by this being the final volume, final arc that we will get into within this season, unless they decide to go a little bit forward. I believe this is volume 4. I believe this is the 4th arc. I believe this is the first time this has appeared in animated format, which is a pretty cool thing, I would say, for the series to have skipped it for whatever the decision was, which maybe we'll be able to uncover ourselves by being able to go through and watching all of this. And for the first time getting it in this format, for old fans of the series who may have not read the novel, for new fans of the series who don't really want that time gap, you know, that little split that they're going to end up having, I think this is really nice and pretty cool. So I'm very excited for us to get into that. And like I said before, I do find it pretty interesting that this was chosen to be skipped. Whether it was simply the next volume had a better ending in a way for them to like kind of end a season almost fully on, to end possibly creating seasons 4 and just kind of stopping there and getting people more intrigued to go read the novel, whether the contents of this arc itself is maybe not as interesting. I don't know. There's a variety of reasons and different things that it can be, and hopefully we can kind of figure that out for ourselves. We're coming off a pretty high note, I would say, with overall the last arc and the last volume itself being the strongest thus far, in my opinion. While still having things I'm concerned about going forward, will be interesting to see how exactly they plan to go away from that formula a little bit, if they plan to at all, or if they plan to kind of stick to it and maybe just add some alterations within it. But it will be interesting to see exactly what they do. So I'm excited to see exactly what they have in store here for us. Hopefully you guys enjoy. If you like it all, the like and subscribe to me, feel free to stick around for the discussion. Let me comment with this episode of series ago, episode 20 of Spice and Wolf. Oh my god, brother. This girl covered in fur. She got her tail like that. She still needs all of the blanket and everything. At least she could utilize that for him, you know, keep him a little bit warm. You can't just go doing that. Right. What a shot. What a shot. How are you able to fall asleep in this situation? Wake up.
異教の神々の話を専門に集める修道士がいるらしい。なるほど。その修道士とやらがあの町にいるのじゃな。いや、修道院はかなり偏僻なところにあるから、場所を知るのはテレオにある教会の司祭だけなんだ。じゃあそのテレオに着くのじゃな。いや違う。そのテレオに行く道がわからないから、まずはエンベルクの町に寄るんだ。随分と上な話。
Yeah. Whatever we must do, though. Whatever must be done to accomplish your goals, to get what you want. Whatever.
クメルスンでマルクから買い付けた小麦だよ。
ああ、そうじゃったそうじゃった。
Everything has not been good.
俺もここに来るのは初めてだから、どんな商品に需要があるかわからなかったんだ。お前の故郷を探すためだけじゃなく、俺の商いの旅でもあるんだぞ。
たわけ、わっちゃ可愛い尻尾を主の足の下に敷かれたんじゃ。
You will do what I say.
主を尻に敷かねば割に合わぬ。もうライ麦パンは嫌じゃ。わっちが欲しいのは真っ白いの小麦。
You want to get back on my good side? You do what I say, buddy.
で手を回す余裕がないんですよ。小麦は儲かりますからね。できれば購入したいところなんですが。
いえ、道中商いながらといった感じです。
ちなみに行き先の方は
Very, very far.
レノス？そんな遠いところへ。
その前にテレオにひとまず向かっている最中なのです。
Huh. Also very funny.
テレオのですか？教会でしたらこのエンベルクの方。
Yeah, that's not the path, though.
大きな教会がありましたね。
That looks really cool.
一帯を取りまとめている教会です。メンデス司教というご立派な方がいらっしゃって。
Father Mendez.
テレオの教会に会いたい方がいるのです。ついでと言ってはなんですが、テレオまでの道をご存知。
He just bypasses everything he's saying.
およそ1日ですね。
Alright, that's not bad.
ありがとうございます。 また神のお導きがあれば。
その時はぜひ。それでは。
主よ、
Goodbye.
テレオまで1日じゃったね。
ああ、そうだな。
今日のうちにもっと進んでおけば明日には着くじゃろう。
休憩した方が良くないか？お前も疲れてるだろ
休憩ならば明日テレオとやらでもできるじゃろう。行けるならば早く行きたい。
う。わかった。なら温かい飯だけ食べていこう。それくらいいいだろう。
それは当然じゃろう。
There's always room for that, you know? Sometimes we're in a rush, but there's always room. Back to our fun, lonely travels. Not so lonely, though, but lonely. Oh, a water wheel.
水車があるようならそろそろだな。
Uh-oh. First character unlocked. We will have an issue with you. Stop! No horses beyond here.
悪い悪い。なあ、あんた旅の人だろ。
His hands are all white.
その通りだが、そっちは。
見た通りの粉引きだよ。エレオが町ならエンベルクは王国都市だ。何の用か知らないけどチンケな村さ。
そうか。どのくらいかかる？
もうすぐそこだよ。
Everyone keeps convincing
こ
us
こ
of
がテレ
this.
オだと言ってもいいくらいだろうさ。
なるほど、わかった。ありがとう。
まあ、慌てることはない。
No, we are in a rush. We are.
テレオに修道場を連れて行くのはやめた方が。
And we'll take our chances.
俺たちはテレオにある教会に用があってきた。教会なんだから修道女が行ったって構わないだろう。
いや、でもなんというか喧嘩をしてるんだよ。エンベルクの教会のムカつく連中とな。
Thanks for the info. He still wants more.
私の名はクラフト・ロレンス。君の名は？
エヴァン、キオームエヴァン。
エヴァン。
Real close the gap. Yeah, back up, back up.
あ、絶対覚えといてくれよ。
Right back to it.
帰る時にもぜひ追ってくれよ。
We're gonna go to the other way.
必要な職業だが、町や村では嫌われる。隠した指で引いた粉をくすねているって言われている。しかも水車は大抵は漁師のものだ。粉を引くたびに税金を取られるが、それを集めるのは誰か。
順当に言えば粉引きじゃな。
その通り、税を喜んで払う人なんていない。では一番の恨まれ役は？
なるほどな。なら
Not a great job.
主にばかり尻尾を振っておったのは。
ああ、この村から出たくてしょうがないんだろう。
Hmm.
粉引きは誰かがやらなければならない重要な仕事だ。けれども大抵は疑われ、嫌われ、感謝されることはない。
どこかで聞いた話
So
じゃ。
that's why I meant so much when you reach out.
だが必要な職業だ。感謝する人もいるさ。
There's so many jobs and things like that out there in the world that have like poor reputations or looked at by certain groups of people or even the majority of people in certain lights that are so necessary and you really need. The evil looks the moment you come through.
どなたですか？
突然の訪問をお詫びします。私は旅の行商人でロレンスと申します。
商人の方。
はい、クメルスンから参りました。
そちらは？
ちょっとした縁から共に旅をしているものです。
Nice and clear enough.
どのようなご用向きですか？
はい、実はこちらの教会の司祭様にお会いしたいのですが。
正確には司祭ではありませんが、当教会を預かるエルサ・シュティングハイムです。
Hello, Elsa.
それでご用向きは？
ええ、道をお尋ねしたく。
道？
はい、D エンドラン修道院へ行きたいのです。院長はルイズラーナ・シュティングヒルトという方なのですが。
存じません。
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
こちらにフランツ司祭という方がいらっしゃるとお聞きしたのですが。
司祭は夏に亡くなりました。
え？
もういいでしょう。そんな修道院の場所は知りませんし、私は忙しい。
I don't think he'll ever be satisfied by that response.
あれよじゃね。
She did.
寄付をしなかったせいかな。 フランツ司祭が亡くなってるというのは本当か？
嘘には思えぬ。じゃが
ああ、修道院の場所を知らないのは
Yeah.
嘘だな。
And more so using that as her escape almost from having to answer the question.
狭い村だからな、騒ぎを起こすなよ。
主の
Yeah, your usual issues. Don't cause anything.
少し眠い。寝てもいいかや。
ダ
Sure.
メだと言ったらどうするんだ？
I'll do it anyways. Damn, bro. So many hollow ass shots this episode.
俺が帰ってくるまでに服を畳んでいなかったら晩飯の質を
Oh, well, the worst thing you can say.
そんなことせぬ。
お前な、いつか痛い目見るぞ。
主にできるものならな。またどこか行くのかや。
ここに滞在す。
Saw right through his little play, bro. Thought he was clever.
修道院の場所を聞けるかもしれない。だからおとなしく寝ててくれ。
うむ。
土産はないけどな。
構わぬ。
You actually returning. Yeah, yeah. You actually returning is the gift enough. That's all she wants. There we go.
先にもらいんす。おやすみ。
ごゆっくり。
テレオの村を預かっております。セムと申します。
Sem. Hello. We need some
お
info.
取り込み中でしたか？
いえいえ、ただ収穫した麦をパンにしている最中なもので。
あ、
A dragon? Oh, a snake. Where the fuck does a dragon come in?
生きてはおりません。
修道院を探しているのですが、その場所をご存知ではないかと、先ほど教会の方でもお伺いしたのですが、あいにく知らないと。
At least they
さよう
claim
です
though.
か。私もこの近辺には聞いたことがなく、
こちらのフランツ司祭なら修道院をご存知だと聞いたのです。
フランツ司祭は夏に
伺い
That
ま
that
した。
tracks. That
欲しい
tracks.
方を亡くしましお若い方で驚かれたでしょ
ええ、それで。
Uh
う。
oh.
何かあったよ。
Always gotta interrupt our fucking conversations. Can't let us have nothing. Give us absolutely nothing besides. Well, I guess we kind of got the confirmation that we already knew, but it's still nice to have.
俺も少し寝るか。
服を畳んで毛布をかけなければ飯の質を落とすそうじゃな。
お前は優しいからそんなことはしないだろうさ。
飯は大丈夫なのかや。
酒場に行けば大丈夫だろ
ふむ。ならば早く行こ
う。寝起きなんだがな。わかった。わかったよ。ん？あれは？
Wait a minute.
う。ほう。
It looks so tiny in that shot.
行き。
なるほどな。
Okay.
人の生活を覗き見していいのは。
主は気にならぬのかや。
I am. Open it back
そん
up.
なことに興味津々だとはな。
興味津々で悪いかや。
Alright, it's not like I'm like getting in between or doing anything. Let me watch. Observe from a distance.
強いて言えば勉強じゃな。
勉強。
勉強じゃ。わっちと主が旗から見てどのように見えるかの。何事も旗から見てみぬとわからぬじゃろ。わっちゃ旗から見るとあんなことを主にされておったんじゃな。まああれらに負けておるとは思わぬがの。の主よ。
We can change that. Advance the relationship.
しよ。
Don't ignore it.
聞いておるかや。
Oh, he is.
腹が減った。
おう。 エルサもセム村長も修道院のことを知っている。なのに白を切っているように見えた。まずはその事情を探る。
Alright. The weirdest of episodes with absolutely nothing, I think, for me to truly latch to and start like guessing on stuff. And there probably is, and some of it might just come from my own inability to really comprehend absolutely everything that's occurring. But it just seems to be a lot of things that don't make sense, and I don't mean make sense as in I can't gauge what's going on, more so doesn't make sense as in we have pretty clear set of rules almost for how a lot of things in life typically work, or how a lot of things should operate almost. And in this situation, we have every single one of those things, but doing nearly the polar opposite of what that is, right? Having this town, having this village, having this church in the middle, having this place that does not welcome nuns or anything, and it's not like working off too well with them at this point, right? We have a church who doesn't have this open door policy that you typically would expect kind of out of it, and is just shutting people away almost. You have a town that's very like on edge about everything that's occurring. You have somebody who's a priest but not a priest at the same time. Also, it was a woman who I believe aren't allowed to be priests, if I'm correct. So it doesn't really work or make too much sense all there. You have people who are like clearly hiding secrets, you know, knowing things but acting as though they don't. You have people who are just like doing things that I think like doesn't typically track in the same exact sort of way that you would almost expect them to. Doesn't follow the set of rules that you almost would, which showcases the weirdness of what this town actually is, and tries to make it more intriguing for the viewer, at least here, where you're really curious as to exactly why all these things are occurring and what it was the reasoning for almost all of this and why we are in the situation that we have found ourselves in. And that's a majority of what I would argue to be the setup here, with some fun little moments between Hollow and Lawrence overall that we get between the two of them. But I don't know like too much more really that I can go into here. And some of it would have to be me going like completely on edge and theorizing and stuff. But I gotta be honest, I don't really want to do that. So we're just I'll go back through the episode, but this might be relatively short. Cute moment between them with the sharing a blanket and stepping on the tail and causing the big old issue and everything that he did at the beginning. I'm very proud of this. We get so many shots of Hollow just fucking bending over this episode. Kind of insane. And we continue to travel on. Things don't work out too well for us, like, as we are. I mean, they do, and we get information and everything, of course, that we can pick up on. But I mean, more so when everybody keeps trying to stop us in our tracks from, like, actually letting us go on and do this. And it just prolongs absolutely everything that we are trying to do. More fun overall between their conversation. We're trying to sell off all our wheat and everything, but it ain't the place for it now. I'd assume Lawrence is going out of his way and doing this, simply to just kind of be as quick as he possibly can with it. The longer that he holds on to this product, the worse it probably becomes, wanting to make sure and ensure that he can kind of get rid of this. But we're not in a situation or a town or a place or anything here that really is in a spot that allows this to work, unless you want to operate on good old credit, which hasn't proven to be the greatest for us over time here. Also, we're on the move, so like that doesn't really work in any sort of way for us either. So we have to continue onwards and move on to the next town. We're trying to get to Taro here. So we have to go. We're being advised weirdly by everybody till we get to this point. Hollow wants to move on and get there extremely quick, which is when we end up finding the miller. What's his name? Evan or something like that? I don't remember where he says his name. Anyways, they talk for a little bit. He seemingly, I don't know. There's something weird there. I can't get a read on entirely. It's like he wants an out, right? But at the same time, I don't know. I don't think I have anything. I'm gonna have to rewatch this conversation and think about it. I'm a little stumped, I think, on him and what his involvement, because we see him later and he comes into the village and he's clearly some sort of relation to Elsa. But I don't see how that would directly, I don't know. I'm not gonna be able to get it. We'll play by ear for right now. But there's definitely some other stuff here. I love his hands being all completely fucked up here. We learn a little bit. It's not a good idea. Clearly, this is where all his knowledge and everything from the situation and the scenario and stuff that we're going into while going to this village directly comes from, clearly, to his close relation to her, which makes plenty of sense in his relation to the actual village itself as well. Constantly advising us, yeah, that'd be great. Don't go in dressed up like this. It won't bring as much attention to you. Things won't be as bad. He sets them up in about as good of a situation as I feel like he can without actually fully putting them in that position. Then he gains some recognition by somebody asking him for his name. Finally, he continues to close the gap and get closer. I don't want you to forget that. I don't want you to forget me. You know, be appreciative of the things and everything that he does too. And move into town. Everybody observing us. This is a few different things, you know, everybody's like weirdly like, I don't know this person. People come and go into this town and we have to be aware of them. So we have to keep complete eyes on them. It could be something about them that in particular is drawing attention that I'm not really picking up on. But I think it's more of that, just like a tight-knit community almost in this small little village that we have. And it's them taking notice that these people who don't actually live here or aren't always here have now come in, and you being a little bit cautious, clearly with how weird everything is around here and how abnormal it almost seems to be, that maybe we should be a little bit more like attentive to these types of people who come in to make sure that they're not trying to steer things up, or they're not trying to push or do anything that's like kind of weird, and keep our eyes on them and make sure that we constantly spread our little rumors and everything. The moment that, you know, you stop and you make note of them, they immediately want to like look away and don't want to make anything a little too obvious, even though they already have. Plus, you've already entered the gates here into the church, so they'll just leave it entirely up to her, where we end up meeting Elsa, who ends up being our stand-in priest for the most part. Doesn't seemingly give us any information that we really can use outside of the idea that Father Francis passed away, and he's been passed away. So the idea that we are aware of who this is makes plenty of sense, but the actual locations to the abbey that we're looking for, we will not tell. We don't know them, which clearly seems to be a lie to him. It just doesn't make much sense. Clearly that you would know, especially if you know of this guy who clearly would know of where this place is, or has been described as somebody who actively like works here or lives within this place or whatever it is. He definitely, you know, and you know where he is or where he was, you should probably be at least aware on some sort of level as to exactly what or where it is. I do have suspicions that there's a possibility that it's literally just this right here within this village, and there's a reason that we won't let us in, and there, whatever that purpose actually is, I don't know. There's so many mysteries and things kind of within the village itself so far that's not something I can really pick up on either, but we'll end up seeing. Only she was entirely wrong, but whatever. We laugh it off a little bit. We make some jokes together. Yeah, you'll be back. You're not so scary, buddy. A little cute moment being like, all I ask is for your return. So let's go and visit him. Snake symbolism is interesting. I don't know exactly what it could be. I'm assuming it has to be something with the types of gods and everything that we've dealt with before, and I don't know exactly what the symbolism for this would be. I mean, we have outside logo, we have a snake on the inside as well. You know, there's something going on there. I don't know what any of that would sort of mean or represent. I'm not cultured enough to actively know any of that, but it is something to pay a little bit of attention to. We meet the village elder, who also has look at that, what a beauty. We have our little conversation with him where he does essentially the exact same things that Elsa does, shuts us down about location, but at the exact same time explains that we did lose him, which it makes it either known that we're not lying and we are being truthful, that this is exactly what happened with his passing, but we're probably hiding this information. So like that's the weird thing, right? You're taking essentially just the movements and the things of these people, the actions, the way that they say things, the little mannerisms and stuff within them, as okay, they're telling the truth at this point, but they're lying at this point. But if we want to just be completely like on the outside and view all possibilities, they could either be entirely telling the truth total, which I don't fully buy either. They could be all on the same page because of what is believed so far up to this point, to me at least, to be a very tight-knit community who clearly has worked out and ironed out their stories and everything that they plan to tell anyone who comes and has any sort of relevance that would be asked these questions, to have all the same exact answers and responses towards these things, which entirely also could be the case. They could be on page that they're working on and they're going to admit this one thing but not admit this other. They could also just be on the same page together and lying about the exact same things. Maybe Father Francis is still alive. Maybe he's literally in that church that we're looking at right there, right? Like maybe he's here and he hasn't passed away, but we've worked out this sort of story for whatever reason that this sudden shift that they've probably had, which my assumption would be over the last year or so, has ended up coming to life here, which is why the village is operating and acting as though it kind of is right now as well, and we're keeping him hidden from the general public and everything. But it also could be that something happened with him causing the sudden shift in the way that things are happening, so they're not lying there. But there's a lot of different ways that we can view exactly what they're saying. They could be telling the truth on every end. They could be telling it only on one end and not on the other, like Lawrence is suspecting. They could be lying on both. We don't really have any concrete things outside of general assumptions that are being made right now. And as we're trying to get a little bit more info, perfectly timed just to get interrupted, causing Lawrence to have to unfortunately step out a little bit. And then we see a weird thing where all of a sudden Buddy's coming here and he has some sort of relation with Elsa, which I don't fully understand either. So I don't really know. And they publicly are displaying this, but also they're doing it at such a weird time in the day that maybe nobody else would notice. But I think that you'd be a little bit more careful about that, and he would probably be like let inside, or they would have like a different meeting location or something along those lines if they truly were trying to hide it. So it almost seems like something that the entirety of the village is probably aware of, and it's maybe something's wrong with that. I don't really know all the details maybe that I'm trying to necessarily go into. Hollow just trying to spy on and take this up so that she can understand their relationship on a little bit of a different level and make it some sort of comparison, which is really funny. We need lots of information, but we don't know exactly why. That's all I'm probably gonna have here. There's definitely some things I either don't fully grasp or won't fully grasp, or I do and I'm overlooking or I'm underlooking or whatever the situation is. Typical things that we usually get within these shows, but we are setting our arc up with a whole bunch of questions and not so many answers so far. So, but that's kind of how you have to set things up, especially if you're trying to tell some sort of story with any sort of aspect or element of mystery kind of to it. It seems like. So that's exactly what we are getting here. So I'm excited to get into the next few. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you liked it all, the like and subscribe to the amounts may feel free to check out the video and channel in the comments of this episode of series. I'll be back for episode 21 very soon. I hope you have a great one. Peace.